This is the Fifth Estate winning headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you might have missed this morning. But we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 6th of August 2019 and I am 2J.
I am 2M.
And I am Miss K, your host. Again, in case you missed it, this is Winning Headlines. Let's take a look at today's headlines. The Standard, 90-year wait for governors in T-Sisal land tussle. The Star, Ryla's Ali's Ken's Bro battle for Kibra.
Yes.
And Daily Nation, DCI probes 4.4 billion shilling pipeline tender scam.
Yeah.
Let's start with
Interesting news today.
this story.
Yes.
Daily Nation, DCI probes. Season 2 has begun. Season 1 ended.
Season 2 has begun.
And Aurora
Yes.
closed that door.
Yes.
Congratulate DCI on a wonderful and successful season. On to the next one. Money Heist Season 2.
The telenovela continues.
It is.
I don't know about successful. And you know, I have a bone to pick with this war on graft. But anyway, first, I'll say this. Daily Nation telling us DCI is probing a 4.4 billion shilling pipeline tender scam. It's like telling us the postman is delivering letters. He's doing what he's meant to do.
Yeah.
Second, I do think that this, reading the details, this investigation that includes former MD Joe Sang,
Yeah.
right? And Joe Sang is seen.
I know where you're going with this.
You know where I'm going. Joe Sang is perceived to be DP's man. The person they're going after, and the 4.4, by the way, was not paid. There was an attempt to pay it, to settle with the
So in
Lebanese
short, no
contractor.
money was lost.
No money was lost, but there was an attempt to pay it. But I think that there's something to do with a crime over there. The person they're heading at is the deputy president.
So in fact, we're saying that this season 2 is not the success of DCI continuing, but it is season 2 continuing.
Season 1.
No, this is a season 2 continuing to attempt to get the DP.
And
I think that's what you're saying.
I think that's where they are going.
And I think the similarities are very strange because this Lebanese contractor who was supposed to help with the pipeline was blacklisted in Lebanon.
Lebanon, yes.
So it could be one of two things.
Yeah.
Is this that as Kenyans we lack due diligence? Are we not doing a proper job to check on the people who were contracting to do these development
It feels
projects?
like Italy revisited.
Or two, was this done on purpose? Do you get these people in knowing that they have a bad track record so that when stuff happens, we can put our hands up and say,
It's
it
not
was
us,
them?
it was them.
You see,
I don't know. Could be both.
There's a pattern here. When CMC de Ravena came to this country, they first showed up at State House because they were signing
documents
deals
with the president,
for dams. There was a memorandum of understanding. The officials were right at State House, all right? So if KINOTI is going to go and say that some of these contractors have come to government, what they're actually doing, they're exposing how government does its due diligence. They're exposing the Attorney General's office. They're exposing other offices that are meant to do due diligence on these companies.
Then what they are is exposing every single person.
Absolutely.
And if it is true that season 2, DCI probes 4.4 pipeline scam is not limited to pipeline, but all roads lead to State House. All roads lead to the first office, not just to the
And maybe on that note, we should give the DCI some credit.
And I think, to some extent, I think we should. But the person who should also give credit is, if at all we are going to lose any money, is President Uhuru Kenyatta, because it needed his intervention to stop a payment of 4.4 billion shillings from happening, because maybe in his mind he thought this was fraudulent.
All right, we have a 3-part criteria that we use to break down the headlines for you. We ask ourselves 3 questions. Is this headline topical or is it speculative? Is it repetitive or is it groundbreaking? And finally, is it thoughtful or just plain lazy?
Yes.
I feel like we veered off into speculation.
Yeah, I think it's too early to tell. This is exactly how the Awar and Kimwara scandal started, with a lot of headlines that didn't have much information. So until there's something definitive, toss the toss.
Absolutely.
Ryla's battle, Ken's bro battle for Kibra. I take issue with the word bro.
It's like we know him. They're saying it like...
It's too informal for a headline.
It's familiar.
Yeah, it's very familiar.
But then again, do we expect anything more from the Star? They have taken on this thing of being quite tabloid-esque.
Yes.
So it's apt.
But what do you think of the
story
king
itself?
Yes.
I don't know, political inheritance, if I could call it that.
Yeah.
That if a family member who
Yeah.
held a political office passes away or in some other way loses their office,
Yeah.
then another family member then can take on the seat.
Yeah.
I don't think it's new.
Yeah.
It happens a lot, but it does
Absolutely.
beg the question, should it happen?
Yeah.
Is it democratic to
Yes.
have a dynasty taking over?
Yeah.
Just because we've elected them in office doesn't mean that was the process really competitive?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's all right. And I told you guys yesterday, politics is a game of rewards. It's not a game of merit.
That's very true.
People are appointed to office basically because of who they know.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this with Trump. He does that with a lot of family members. We've seen it in India as well. So I think it's just part of the process, as you said.
Absolutely.
Apart from that, I think that bro word has
Has
just,
Yep.
no.
Finally, the standard 99-year wait for governors in tea Sisal land tussle.
Yes.
I like the story. Talk
Yeah.
about how foreign companies
Yeah.
have long leases. In
Yes.
fact, some leases began in the 1920s. There were 999-year leases
Yeah.
for them to conduct business in our countries.
Right.
And the governors want to take it back.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
National Land Commission says that in the year 2010, when we had our new constitution, those leases reverted to 99-year leases.
Yeah.
So if you want to take it back, then you have to wait until, I think all of us will be gone by the
But,
time the
yeah,
year is
2,100
over.
and something,
And
yeah.
by-
I like that. If you give this land to county governments, they will build cemeteries.
And I think that was a question
Wow.
you asked, Ms. K. You said if we did give it back to the counties,
What happens?
What would they do?
What would they do with the land? What would they do with the company?
Yeah.
That is my question. I have no problem with them taking it back, but have a plan. At least have capacitated people to take over those companies. Because
Yeah.
they're living infrastructure, they're living markets.
Yeah.
Make sure we take them over and we use them for what they actually are made for.
Because if they take
Take
the land back,
money.
most likely they're just going to subdivide it and then build
And,
apartments, you know? So
you-
you're taking away 20,000 acres that it belongs to Del or that Del Monte leases,
Yes.
where they have a factory and they're employing people.
Yes.
And then you want to take it back to give
You
people
see,
apartments.
you see that land has been put into productive capacity.
Yes.
If you're going to take that piece of land,
And
and I
keep
am
it.
sure if this land goes to Kiambu, the next thing you're going to see is a third rate place I don't want to name.
Oh my God.
What do we say about this headline? Do we keep it? I like the story.
I think it's a fantastic story, boring headline. It's a bit too long.
Then we toss it.
Yes, we toss.
We have no winning headline. On to our next segment, the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Just like the headlines, we have a 3-part criteria that we use to break them down for you. We ask ourselves 3 questions. Is the cartoon humorous or is it dry? Is it satirical or is it pessimistic? And finally, is it effective or just plain lazy?
Yeah.
I see we're at the standard. Let's see what Gado has for us.
Absolutely. I think Gado is fixated with excrement.
Yes, with mouths and waste.
Mouths and waste.
Retention,
Yes. Anyway,
as Freud called it.
let me give you context. It's a drawing of
Sonko.
Sonko, governor of Nairobi, and on his mouth he's got a sewer, so they call it a culvert, and it's spewing all manner of things. And people are passing by the streets and they are all covering their mouths, right, because of the stench.
Noses.
Yeah, and the caption is the persistency of problem in Nairobi County.
Yeah.
But everyone's having a dig at Sonko because of what he did on the weekend. First at the memorial for Ken Okoth, and second, the spat that he had with Isaac Maura and Millie Odhiambo.
Yeah. I think he has a potty mouth. He doesn't know how to control himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we like this cartoon?
I don't like it that much.
I don't like it.
I think it's just, Gado having this trend of, as you're saying, the potty mouth,
Yeah.
Toss it. I still feel it's reminiscent of yesterday's, which I'm still smarting from.
Yes, and I think the fascination with Sonko continues. Ozone.
It's a ring.
Yes, caricature of baby Mike Sonko.
Actually, it's a style.
And the
Fighting
caricature fighting with Millie Odhiambo, and they're in a pigsty and all manner of things down there. And it says it takes 2 to tango. Calling this piggery is not an insult on pigs. And context of this again is a spat Mike Sonko had with Millie Odhiambo. And Millie Odhiambo had two briefs she gave to Sonko. One was piggery, the other one was legal. And I think this is the play on the pigs and the pigs.
Honestly, I think that what Millie did, the mistake she made then translated into Ozone's cartoon. And I think he tried to make it smart, but he ended up making it even worse.
Yes.
It takes 2 to tangle. Is he trying to say it takes 2 to tango?
It's a plan, it takes 2 to tango,
No.
but here they're tangled up in words and a conflict.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, don't
That's
like
what
it.
he said.
And then the second thing is what I'm saying that Millie started the error with is she said, my response to you will be both intellectual and piggery.
Yes.
Now, piggery is not a word. I think what she meant to say was piggery. Definition being behavior regarded as characteristic of pigs in greed and unpleasantness. So she negated her intellectual attempt by using the wrong word, piggly. And then that transferred to Ozone, who then went and made a bad pun. Goodbye.
Whoa.
And so
Finally. Hey, this week.
Finally, this I like. Caricature of the son of Jomo himself, Uhuru Kenyatta.
Dreadlocks and all.
Dreadlocks, all right? But he's on the cover of an album labeled Uhuru and the Wailers. And this is a play on Bob Marley and the Wailers. There was such a band, I think 1979, I can't know, I'm not too sure.
an album, in fact,
All right, yeah. And the context of this is Uhuru Kenyatta is in Jamaica, right? And Prof asked the other day, why does everybody who goes to Jamaica, why do they think they're going to drink bangi?
Branding. Country branding.
but who is the whaler on this?
The whaler is none other than Deputy President William Ruto. So Uhuru
Peeking in the corner of the cover.
And say Uhuru and the whalers.
I think
it's humorous. I think we should keep it. I like it as a winning cartoon for today.
But there's a reason why he said 4-day state visit to a parliamentary democratic monarchy.
Hey.
That is loaded, guys. That is loaded.
Okay, explain to me, please.
See, it's a parliamentary system in Jamaica.
Yes, definitely.
The Queen is head of state.
Yes.
They do have a governor general, but head of government is a prime minister. Now, is what Ndula telling us that Uhuru is about to change systems to a parliamentary system, and then the whaler himself is none other than his number 2.
I like that. 2M, that's good analysis.
I say it's a winning cartoon.
I agree.
We keep it.
Yes.
So we have a winning cartoon from Victor Ndula of the Daily Nation.
Absolutely.
What is our final thought today?
And now our final thought, a classic, and I think all our parents have given us this book at some point in
Or
our
you
lives.
can at least find it in a bookshelf at your house.
Yes, and it's entitled Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. All right, June, you want to give a summary?
Sure. Again, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, written by Robert Kiyosaki in 1997.
It's Kiyosaki.
I don't know. Can you pronounce your name?
I cannot say
There
Mwangi.
we go. So I think before we start, I want to ask you guys a question.
Okay.
How long could you live if you stopped working right now?
Bear in mind that
I've
I've just been paid.
Exactly. I think that is the right answer, because I know that if it was me, I'd probably live for like a day and have nothing left.
To be honest, if it wasn't for my husband, I probably would be with you. Shoestring budget for real.
Exactly.
But the businessman in him, I think we can survive a year.
So,
No comment for me.
no comment. All right.
And there to read the book.
So this book is a modern classic of personal finance and is a lot similar to what we read yesterday.
Yes.
So the book has sold close to 40 million copies worldwide, written in more than 51 languages across more than 109 countries. And that's why we say you can go to any personal library and you will find a copy.
Yes.
So the book is perfect if there never seems to be anything left in your account at the end of the month. Right? If financial freedom is something that you always promise yourself, you will think about tomorrow.
Yes.
Right? So I think that's perfect for some of us on this table.
Well, I think all of us.
So the story is told through short stories and parables, again, much like the book of yesterday. And the premise is that Kiyosaki had 2 fathers who influenced the way he grew up. So he had a Stanford-educated father who had a PhD, who followed the traditional career thinking. He was allergic to risk, and he was financially illiterate. This is who we call the poor dad, and this was his biological father. Then he had a second father who was a high school dropout, and who later became, who had a huge business empire worth millions and hiring thousands of people. This is the rich father, who was his best friend's dad. So the 2 fathers in this story are a parable for different approaches to wealth accumulation and protection. So the poor dad is bogged down by tradition. He recommends getting a secure job with good benefits and following the consensus views on money and retiring with a pension. So, you do the steps that you're meant to take. Then the rich dad, on the other hand, recommends amassing assets. And those assets should make money for you, not you making money for them. And becoming financially literate, practicing independent thinking, and he sees the cycle of salary, raise, spend, salary, raise, spend. He sees it as a vicious cycle that, he calls it the rat race.
It's true, it is a rat race.
And so I think that begs the question with how we've been taught to think about traditional education as the gateway to
Yes.
financial freedom.
Yeah.
And I think it's true, that's how we are. If we're to be honest as Kenyans, and the reason why we're all suffering at this table, some more than others, is because that's what we're taught.
Yeah.
Think about the advice you're given as a child.
Yeah.
Go to school, work hard, get good grades, apply for a job, get that job, and then work hard at it until you retire and get your pension.
Yeah.
We all have, to some extent, poor dads in us and poor dads who've trained us. That's what we're taught, that's what we work hard for. If I were to tell my parents today I'm quitting my job, do you know what you're going to do? Yeah, I'm going to start a business. Have you started it? No. Is it successful? No. But those are the things that take you onto financial success.
Yeah.
And in that book, there are 5 big ideas that I'm going to tell us about.
Yeah.
The first one is that the poor and the middle class work for money,
Yes.
whereas the rich have money work for them. So have your money work for you, which reminds me of the richest man in Babylon, where he said, keep money and then have that money, and its children and its children's children make more money for you. Constantly investing.
Yeah.
Number 2, it's not how much money you make that matters. It's how much money you keep.
Yes.
So it begs the question, if I was to have a really, really, really good job, so maybe let's say I have Safaricom CEO, we know it's what, 2 million shillings every month. It doesn't matter. If at all you don't have the principles, then you'll still be living from shoestring to shoestring.
At the end of the month, you finish that 2 million.
Absolutely.
You finish the entire 2 million, even though it's a lot of money.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter how much you make, how much you keep.
Yes.
Number 3, rich people acquire assets. Poor and middle class people acquire liabilities that they think are assets. So here I am, I've decided to buy a Mercedes, I go get a loan to pay for that car, and yet I have to pay for the loan, and my Mercedes is depreciating
every
in
time you drive
value every time I drive it.
Fake it until you make it.
No, please, make money. Number 4, and I think it goes with fake it until you make it. Financial aptitude is what you do with money once you make it.
Yeah.
How you keep people from taking your money, how you keep it longer, and how you make it work for you. And he says there are 4 things you need for financial aptitude. Accounting. Do you know how to do your own taxes? Do you know how to manage your budget? Do you even have a budget?
Yes. Do I follow it?
Number 2, investing.
Yeah.
So now that you've kept the money aside, remember we're keeping a 10th.
Yes.
From this month, we're keeping a 10th.
Why are you looking? So you are meant to look at me as well.
You said fake it till you make it. You're not keeping any, you're spending all of it. Number 3, do you know how markets work? And number 4, do you know the law? Because you need to be able to know the law to be able to use it for your benefit.
Yeah.
And finally, all you have is your mind. So what you're going to do is learn, and you learn from the school of life. So that doesn't mean that formal education is bad, but it just means that even whatever you get from formal education, marry it with street smart, informal education that you continually learn from other people. For instance, I don't think there's any school that teaches financial literacy.
That's true.
No, there are some, but anyway. See, I got this book when I was, I think, turning 18, right? And then I read it because I was forced to read. But then I read it a second time much later, and there was a difference. But that's a story for another day. My takeaway is this. There's a chapter that speaks on the history of taxes and the power of corporations. And you see, he says something very important out of the education, financial education. He says a trained mind is a rich mind. All right? And he says that the greatest asset in the mind is financial intelligence. And this is precisely because poor people, and there's something poor people don't have, and that is, they actually have fear, and they don't have knowledge to realize that they earn money, they pay taxes on that money, and live with what's left. However, corporations, on the other hand, earn money, spend everything they've earned, and then the little that is left is what is taxed. Here's a point. There's a difference between tax avoidance and
tax evasion.
Now, I'm not telling you to go and tax evade. But
yes, one is legal and one is illegal.
One is legal,
avoidance
one is illegal.
Avoidance is legal.
Yes,
absolutely.
Avoidance is legal.
Yes, but you can save a little bit of money by manipulating the big machinery. That's and big machinery is government. Now, for example, if you want to go on holiday to Mombasa, don't go as yourself. make
Go
yourself
as a
as a
company.
make yourself a company.
2M Inc.
Yes, 2M Inc.
All right.
Right? Because a little bit, when KRA comes with big statements and announcements, the people that get scared are the individuals.
Yeah.
But because big corporations have accountants and have investment bankers to tell them this is what you do, you can avoid tax by doing this. You can do this. You can avoid certain payments if you account for certain expenditures like this. That is how corporations become powerful. It's because they can take on the big machinery.
Yeah.
So what are you trying to tell us to do?
Become a company.
And I think you were saying this. It's as easy. You were telling me
Yeah.
you spend 30,000 shillings and you can get a license to start a business.
Absolutely.
And I don't think you have to be afraid that you need to get an accountant or a business manager. I think as an individual,
Yes.
if you do pursue that in knowledge, the financial literacy, you can do it yourself.
Absolutely.
I think we're telling Kenyans they don't have to be afraid of starting businesses
Yes.
if they want to avoid taxes. There are ways to make money. But I think one really interesting factor in the book is that this man, Robert Kiyosaki, went bankrupt.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, it's true.
But even more interestingly, this book is all fiction, right?
There was no...
There-
He
there-
writes it
there was
out.
no-
He
there was no
writes
rich
it
dad.
out like
Yeah.
there was a rich dad and there was a poor dad. These
Yeah.
people did not exist.
Yeah.
Actually, he puts it down to one statement. They never said anywhere that the people who make money are the best writing authors.
Yes.
The people who make money are the best selling authors. So that's what he is,
But
a
again,
best-selling author.
fake it until you make it.
Please disregard
Hustler.
them
All right.
completely.
Yeah.
This is Winning Headlines. Today we did not have a winning headline, but we had a winning cartoon from Victor Ndula of The Daily Nation.
Yeah.
This week we're reading books on personal investment.
Yes.
I don't know how we're going to succeed. I
Yeah.
don't know if they've helped us, but the one thing that's for sure is that we all have them in our personal libraries, or at least you know someone who does.
Yeah.
Don't forget that you can find Fifth Estate on your TV screen. Just take a moment to search for us. We are available on Pang, Free to Air, Star Times, and GoTV. And definitely don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Have a great day and see you tomorrow.